In the early years of the 19th century, Manchester awakens before dawn. A low, grey light settles over the city, filtering through smoke that hangs permanently in the air. Chimneys rise like forest trunks above tightly packed streets, each one breathing out a steady plume of coal-darkened vapor. The soundscape is already alive. The distant thrum of machinery, the creak of carts on cobblestone, the measured footsteps of workers moving toward long days that have not yet begun. This is not a traditional city shaped by ancient walls or royal decree. This is something new, urgent, improvised, and relentless. Manchester, at this moment, stands at the edge of a historical transformation unlike anything Europe has seen before. Once a modest market town surrounded by fields and rivers, it has been pulled forward by forces of innovation, capital, and labor into becoming the world's first modern industrial city. The pace of change is visible everywhere. Streets expand outward almost faster than they can be mapped. Rows of brick housing rise in narrow terraces, built quickly and cheaply to accommodate an ever-growing population drawn by the promise of work. The city's physical form reflects its purpose, production, efficiency, and speed. The reason this moment matters lies not only in what Manchester produces, but in how it reshapes human life itself. Cotton mills dominate the skyline, powered by water and increasingly by steam. Inside them, machines multiply human effort, turning raw fiber into finished cloth at a scale never previously imagined. These mills do more than manufacture goods. They reorganize time, discipline bodies, and redefine the meaning of work. The rhythm of the city is no longer set by daylight or seasons, but by bells, shifts, and the continuous motion of gears. This transformation brings opportunity, but it also carries deep tensions. Wealth accumulates rapidly in the hands of mill owners and merchants, while thousands of laborers crowd into districts never designed for such density. Old social structures strain under new pressures. Traditional crafts fade as factory labor replaces skilled handwork. Families adjust to altered roles, with men, women, and children all drawn into industrial schedules that leave little room for rest. The gap between prosperity and hardship grows sharper with each passing year. Manchester becomes a place of contradictions. Progress and suffering exist side by side, often separated by only a few streets. Elegant warehouses and commercial offices stand within walking distance of overcrowded lodging houses. Canals and newly laid roads speed goods to distant ports, while nearby neighborhoods struggle with sanitation and disease. The city thrives economically, even as it exposes the limits of rapid, unregulated growth. At this industrial turning point, Manchester is not merely changing, it is experimenting, unknowingly, with a new model of urban life. The consequences of that experiment will echo far beyond its boundaries, influencing cities across Britain, Europe, and the wider world. To understand Manchester in the early 19th century is to witness the birth of modern urban existence in all its ambition, strain, and unresolved complexity. As daylight strengthens over Manchester, the city's streets fill with movement. Narrow lanes funnel streams of people toward mills and workshops, their pace shaped by habit and necessity. Footpaths are uneven, worn smooth by thousands of daily crossings. Horse-drawn carts rumble past, carrying coal, cotton bales, or finished cloth wrapped tightly against the damp air. The smell of smoke, oil, and wet brick settles into every corner, becoming an unremarkable constant of urban life. Housing spreads rapidly around the industrial core. Rows of brick terraces press tightly together, often built back to back with little separation between dwellings. Inside, rooms are small and sparsely furnished. Many families share limited space, with several generations sleeping in close proximity. Water is collected from communal pumps or nearby wells, while waste is disposed of in shared yards or open drains. These arrangements reflect both the speed of Manchester's expansion and the priorities of a city focused on productivity rather than comfort. Markets provide brief points of social exchange amid the grind of work. Early each morning, vendors set up stalls offering bread, vegetables, meat, and basic household goods. The atmosphere is crowded and practical. Transactions are quick, shaped by limited wages and strict budgets. Food is chosen for its ability to sustain long hours of labor rather than variety or pleasure. Prices fluctuate with supply, and shortages are felt immediately by the poorest households. Work dominates the structure of daily life. Factory bells mark the beginning and end of shifts with mechanical precision. Inside the mills, long rooms are filled with rows of machines driven by belts and shafts overhead. The air is warm and heavy with cotton dust. Noise is constant, forcing workers to communicate through gestures rather than speech. Tasks are repetitive, divided into precise motions that must be maintained hour after hour. Time is measured not by the sun outside, but by production targets and overseers' watches. Outside the mills, other forms of labor keep the city functioning. Canal workers guide barges along narrow waterways that cut through industrial districts, transporting raw materials and finished goods. Carpenters, masons, and ironworkers maintain buildings and machinery strained by continuous use. Domestic labor continues behind closed doors, where cooking, washing, and mending must be fitted around exhausting work schedules. Movement through the city follows practical routes. Canals and newly improved roads connect Manchester to surrounding towns and ports, turning it into a hub of regional trade. Bridges arch over water channels darkened by industrial runoff. Warehouses line the banks, their tall windows and heavy doors designed for storage rather than display. These structures reinforce the city's purpose as a place of transfer and transformation rather than leisure. Evenings bring little relief. After shifts end, streets remain busy as workers return home, gather supplies, or seek brief distraction in alehouses. Light from oil lamps reflects off wet stone, revealing faces marked by fatigue. Manchester does not slow easily. Its daily routines are tightly bound to machines that rarely rest, and the lives within it are shaped by a system that values continuity above all else. Behind the movement and noise of early 19th century Manchester lies a framework of authority that governs how the city operates. Power is not concentrated in palaces or ancient institutions, but in offices, counting houses, and factory floors. Industrialists and merchants form the city's most influential group, their wealth derived from production, trade, and investment rather than inherited land. Decisions made in these private spaces shape the lives of thousands, often without direct public visibility. Factory owners exert daily control through systems of discipline designed to maintain efficiency. Timekeeping becomes a tool of authority. Clocks and bells regulate arrival, departure, and breaks, enforcing punctuality with fines or dismissal. Overseers monitor workers closely, ensuring machines are kept in constant motion. Rules are posted clearly, outlining expectations and penalties. Order within the mill is essential, not only for productivity but to protect expensive equipment from disruption. Civic authority operates alongside industrial power, though often with limited reach. Local magistrates and town officials attempt to manage a rapidly expanding population using institutions developed for far smaller communities. Law enforcement is modest in scale, relying on constables and night watchmen to patrol streets after dark. Their presence is visible but uneven, and their ability to intervene is constrained by both resources and social hierarchy. Justice moves slowly, and legal protections vary widely depending on status and income. Religious institutions remain influential, offering moral guidance and social structure. Churches and chapels dot the cityscape, their spires rising above factories and housing alike. Services provide moments of order and reflection within lives otherwise dominated by work. Religious leaders often promote discipline, sobriety, and obedience, values seen as necessary for maintaining social stability. At the same time, these spaces serve as meeting points where shared concerns quietly circulate. Pressure builds as the demands of industrial life collide with human limits. Long working hours, strict supervision, and economic insecurity leave little room for negotiation. When disputes arise, they are often handled informally or suppressed, rather than openly addressed. Collective action is viewed with suspicion, and gatherings of workers attract scrutiny. The memory of unrest in other industrial regions heightens concern among authorities, reinforcing a preference for control over reform. Education and political participation remain limited for much of the population. Knowledge flows unevenly, concentrated among those with time and means. Printed notices, pamphlets, and newspapers circulate, but access varies. Information becomes another form of power, shaping perceptions of opportunity and risk. For many residents, the structures governing their lives feel distant yet unavoidable. Manchester at this stage is held together by a delicate balance. Economic success depends on order, while the city's rapid growth continuously tests that order's limits. Authority is exercised through routine rather than spectacle, embedded in schedules, rules, and expectations. The pressure created by this system is constant, shaping behavior and defining what is possible within the city's industrial framework. By the early decades of the 19th century, Manchester is no longer simply expanding. It is being fundamentally reshaped by the forces it helped unleash. The industrial system that organizes daily life begins to alter the city's physical form, its social relationships, and its long-term trajectory. What began as a concentration of mills and workshops evolves into a self-sustaining urban machine, capable of continuous growth yet increasingly defined by its consequences. The scale of production accelerates as steam power spreads more widely through factories. Dependence on natural waterways lessens, allowing mills to be built wherever labor and transport routes align. This shift deepens Manchester's role as a manufacturing center and increases its demand for raw materials, labor, and energy. Canals, warehouses, and roads multiply, locking the city into regional and global trade networks that extend far beyond its immediate surroundings. With growth comes strain. Overcrowded housing and inadequate infrastructure expose vulnerabilities that cannot be ignored indefinitely. Disease spreads easily through tightly packed districts, revealing the costs of unchecked urban density. Periodic economic downturns ripple quickly through the workforce, demonstrating how closely personal survival is tied to industrial output. These pressures force gradual adjustments as authorities and employers respond to problems that threaten productivity and stability. Social relationships also shift. A distinct industrial working population emerges, bound together by shared routines and environments, rather than traditional village ties. At the same time, a confident commercial class consolidates its influence, investing profits back into factories, transport, and civic improvements. The city becomes more stratified, with clearer divisions between areas of wealth and hardship. These patterns harden over time, shaping how residents understand their place within the urban order. The legacy of this period lies in the model Manchester provides. Its success demonstrates the potential of industrial concentration, while its difficulties reveal the human and environmental costs involved. Other cities observe closely, adapting its systems of production, labor organization, and infrastructure. In this way, Manchester's experience extends outward, influencing urban development across Britain and beyond. By mid-century, traces of the early industrial turning point remain visible in brick facades, canal routes, and street layouts established during these formative decades. The rhythms introduced by factory life continue to echo through the city's institutions and culture. Manchester's transformation during the early 19th century does not conclude neatly. Instead, it sets processes in motion that will continue to redefine the city for generations. In this moment, Manchester stands as both origin and warning, a place where modern urban life takes shape through necessity, innovation, and tension. Its early industrial character leaves an enduring imprint, ensuring that the story of this city remains inseparable from the broader history of the modern world.